everyone, today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting rational expressions, okay? And rational expressions are really just equations with fractions, but that have variables in them, which makes them rational. So we need to understand how we add or subtract fractions. Remember, to add or subtract fractions, you must have a common denominator. Common denominator, right? Oh, sorry, that's not so neat, is it? All right, well, let's practice finding the lowest common denominator, also called the least common multiple or the lowest common multiple. All right, so if I'm looking at the numbers 12 and 18, the lowest common denominator is the lowest number that they both go into. So if I think about this, if I look at the multiples of 12, 12 times 1 is 12, times 2 is 24, times 3 is 36, and I look at the multiples of 18, 18 and 36, we can see that their LCD, or their least common multiple, is 36. That's the lowest number that each of them go into evenly. All right, we throw in variables. We have to be a little bit more careful, okay? So 5 and 25, you might be saying, Coach Fred, I know that the least common multiple is 25, right? 5 goes into 25 and 25 goes into 25. But when we're dealing with variables, it's going to be the highest exponent that you have, or the highest factor that you have. So in this case, it would be 25x squared. That would be the least common multiple, or the lowest common denominator. All right, now it gets trickier in algebra when the factors are expressions with addition and subtraction. So x minus 4 is a factor, and x plus 3 is a factor. So the lowest common denominator, the least common multiple, would be x minus 4 times x plus 3. All right, those expressions are in factored form. It is going to get a little trickier when I give you an expression like a trinomial and a binomial. You're always going to want to look at them in factored form to come up with your least common multiple. So the first thing you'd want to do would be to factor x squared minus x minus 12. So that's going to give me what? X minus 4, x plus 3, and x minus 4. Okay, so I can clearly see I have a factor of x minus 4. So my least common multiple, or my LCD, would be x minus 4. And I also have a factor of x plus 3. All right, next one's a little bit trickier because they both have to be factored. I have dots here, and I have a perfect square trinomial here, or a PST here. So I'm going to factor them both. So x plus 5, x minus 5, and this one becomes x plus 5 squared. Okay, remember, it's all of the factors the most time they occur, and so x plus 5 squared is the highest. So my LCD, or my LCM, would be x plus 5 squared and x minus 5. All right. Now, this is going to be important as we move on to adding and subtracting rational expressions. To do that, let's first practice adding and subtracting fractions. I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit. I'm going to make it like this. There we go. Make it a little bigger. All right. In order for us to add these fractions together, we need to have a common denominator. So the lowest common denominator in this case would be 18. 9 and 18 both go into 18. All right, so I ask myself, what's missing from each side? Well, on this side, I'm missing a factor of 2. So I can multiply any equation by the number 1. So if I multiply the right side by 2 over 2, I'm multiplying by 1. That's going to give me 8 over 18. And so 2 over 18, which is going to give me 10 over 18, what does that simplify to? 5/9? So we've added our fractions. All right, let's look at this with variables because it's trickier. Here I have 5 times x over x minus 4 plus 2x times x plus 3. So the first thing I want to do is find my lowest common denominator. It's every factor that we have the most times they occur. So that would be x minus 4 times x plus 3. So both sides, both denominators are missing something. This is missing x minus 3. So I'm going to multiply the left side, x plus 3, all over x plus 3. And on this side, I'm missing an x minus 4. So I'm going to multiply x minus 4 times x minus 4. All right, I do want to be really careful here. 5 has to get multiplied to that whole numerator. So that's going to be 5 times x plus 3. Leave the bottom in factored form. And then on this side, I have 2x times x minus 4 all over x plus 3 times x minus 4. Okay? All right. Now, the denominators are the same, so I have to first multiply the tops. I'm going to distribute. That's going to give me 5x plus 15 plus 2x squared minus 8x all over x plus 3 times x minus 4. Now I can combine like terms in the numerator, giving me 2x squared minus 3x plus 15 over x plus 3 times x minus 4. All right, now I'm not actually quite finished because it's an expression with variables in the denominator. So we really have to consider what values would be restricted from this expression. What values am I not allowed to plug in? What values are not in the domain? Well, if I plug in a -3 for x, I'm going to get a 0 in the denominator, which 0 times x minus 4 would be 0. So x cannot equal -3. And the same in the other expression. If I plug in a 4 for x, 4 minus 4 would give me 0. So I can't have 4. Those are my restricted values. They are not in the domain of this expression. All right, let's try one more. That's a little bit harder. Now, like we found earlier with our LCDs, we have to make sure that our denominators are in factored form before we find our LCDs, kind of like those two examples I did at the beginning. So I'm going to have to factor each denominator. Let me use a better color. So this would be b plus 3, b minus 3. This would be b plus 3, b plus 3, so b plus 3 squared. I'm going to find my LCD, which is going to be b plus 3 squared times b minus 3. I'm going to switch to red. All right, on this side then, I'm missing one factor of b plus 3. So I'm going to multiply this side by b plus 3 over b plus 3. On this side, I'm missing a factor of b minus 3, so I'm going to multiply by b minus 3 over b minus 3. All right, so this gets tricky. My top over here, I'm going to have b plus 3, b minus 3. My top over here, I'm going to have b plus 3, b minus 3. Oh, that's nice. And the bottoms are going to be b plus 3 squared times b minus 3. b plus 3 squared times b minus 3. All right, I kind of noticed that b plus 3, b minus 3 was what I started with here, so I'm going to just factor that quickly or multiply that out. That's going to give me b squared minus 9. This is also going to give me b squared minus 9. So my denominators are the same, so all I do is add the numerators. So 2b squared minus 18 all over b plus 3 squared b minus 3. And then I look for my restricted values. So I know that b cannot equal 3, or that guy would be 0, and b cannot equal -3. All right, there's my quick video on how to add or subtract rational expressions. Have a great day.